I enjoy long walks on the beach.
You're an alcoholic?
Last night, if you saw me last night, you might have said yes.
Yeah.
They got these crazy beers here with like 47% alcohol. I don't drink beer. I'm a whiskey guy. I can handle my whiskey. But for some reason, a beer in a purple bottle.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a new
Makes
whiskey.
me want to dance and and sing and go home and order Domino's. It's wonderful.
New whiskey called Cold Cock, by the way. You should check it into if you like whiskey. Cold Cock whiskey. It's herbal whiskey, and this is a plug. You're filming it. I'm telling you right now. Cold Cock, one of my new sponsors.
There you go.
He's got sponsors.
Working it.
Certain states, though, that's the only common cold.
Connecticut just got legal for Cold Cock.
So you're buying shots now.
Wow.
I don't have them here.
Ask your
And
question.
that brings me to my first point, or point to question, and I put these things out here during this panel because I'm very curious as to not only what other artists think and what you guys think as well. You mentioned earlier in this panel about how we have to understand this is a business nowadays and think like a business person. And I couldn't agree more. When I started being an artist, I watched a lot of DVDs of other musicians and YouTube videos and clips and all that kind of stuff. I'm getting ready to put out my first big full-length record next year as a solo artist versus a band leader. And I spent the last 6 months watching Shark Tank because I was trying to figure out what the best way to actually put my product out in the marketplace would be. Everybody here realizes that we're dealing with a devalued product right now being a musician because the gateway to entry is way too easy. For $300, you can go to Sam Ash and buy a recording mechanism, plug it into your computer, make a record, and it doesn't matter whether you're burping on a microphone or you have a 47-piece orchestra of phenomenal Berkeley graduates on your record, you can get on iTunes in 2 weeks. It just is what it is, and our product is extremely devalued. I spent all of last year on the road, did 147 concerts from Maine to Georgia. I won an award as the best live act in all of New England, and I still, in most markets, struggle to bring more than 10 people, 12, 15 people at a paid hard ticket show. I'm not ashamed to admit it. One thing that I then realized was, so I was traveling to New Jersey to play a show, and by the time I was done paying the band, driving there and back, going through tolls, etc., it was a $400, $500, $600 expenditure. Then, once I understood how to advertise on Facebook and do things like that, it cost 18 cents to truly engage and get a new like on Facebook and engage your new fans and know what you're doing. Right? Now, I'm not saying buying a like, I'm saying advertising. And then we break it down by how much you spend and how many new likes
You work for Facebook.
What? No, I don't. Here's my question.
The problem with Facebook is that even if it didn't cost you much to get that like person, you can't communicate with them anymore.
Well, you can if you know how to do it. You have to understand the marketing mechanisms of it. What they're doing is they're building something that allows you to go against the overflooded market. It used to be that anybody who posts anything on Facebook has a chance of engaging somebody or having somebody see it. Now, Facebook, same thing happened there that happened when we introduced the N-Box to recording, and anybody can make their own record and put it out on CD Baby. It got overflooded. So now Facebook is saying if you want to put $5 behind your post and boost it, or if you really like your post and you want to put $20 behind it, we'll guarantee that 10,000 people see it. And then if 10,000 people see it,
But
that's how
actually,
many
they
likes
won't
they'll
give you 10,000 people's view. They'll give you 800 people's view, and the more you put money into it, the lower those numbers go. And actually, if you stop for a while, then those numbers will go back up.
Of course.
But the point is, so the point is, if you had 10,000 likers and you can reach 800 of them, you're kind of screwed.
My only disgust.
Because you don't know which 800 really want to
Here's my question, because I agree with that.
Okay.
So I understand that. So my question to you is this. Where is the money better spent for a growing artist? Is it better spent on the road, making 1 or 2 fans at a time, drawing 8, 9, 10 people, hoping to engage somebody when there's 100 shows going on any night of the week in almost any major market? Or is it better spent at home with a quality microphone, putting down the YouTube video, and then investing $100 behind it to advertise it on the internet?
I'll answer this right now, and most people are going to be like, everyone hates the idea of the concept of buying onto something. It is the way of the business right now, and it sucks, but, okay, labels been buying on the tours for years. Someone like BMG has an artist, they want to break them. Okay, well, there's a band called Coldplay that it's going to cost $3,000 to get them on 10 dates. The most exposure you're gonna get is playing in front of their fans. So why wouldn't an indie artist pay $3,000 if they're serious about their career to go play in front of another band's audience? And if you're good, you're gonna capture their audience, and then eventually you don't have to do buy-ons. It's a very simple and sad state of affairs that we're in, but that's what's going on with everything. You wanna go on tour, you wanna play in front of a big artist, you can probably buy onto it. Instead of spending your money on all that garbage and Facebook and M-boxes, you know, I spend $3,000 on an album and I make 1,000 back. That's the saddest state of affair that you're in right now. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna save my money. I'm gonna go on tour with Metallica. It's gonna cost me 10 grand, but guess what? I'm playing in front of thousands and thousands of people every night, and I'm selling hundreds of albums every night. That's something that it's not the best idea in the world if you're doing it, if you're getting robbed and you're playing in front of people, if you're buying onto a shitty tour and there's no one there, yeah, that's not a good idea. But you, as a businessman, would know the difference, whether or not it's worthwhile. And that's what labels have been doing. So you act as your own label. Acting as your own label is hiring a radio team, hiring retail, hiring video, making the product, and then going out and touring on the product. Touring is the only way you make money nowadays. Touring. Playing, like you said you were doing. How much shit did you sell every time you went out and played?
Some nights were good, some nights were devastated.
Exactly. But if you went in front of an audience of a band that was your market, that was way bigger than you and had a built-in market, it sucks to bite the bullet and be like, oh man, I gotta pay this money and I'm probably not gonna make it back. It's an investment in your career. It sucks. I don't like to do it. I've done it. I don't do it anymore. I've done it. I'm not ashamed to admit it. You know what I mean?
So, too.
You know, you can also do some virtual touring. I think that's
Stages.
That's what I
Stages.
That's
Hang out
the kind of
there.
stuff I'm kind of referring to.
Yeah. Well, I
Does
mean,
it make sense to drive, be on the road for 8 days in a row and drive to Virginia and back, play a show every night? It's most likely a door deal, or maybe one or two is a minimal guarantee if it's a 4-hour event.
well, nobody's going to come to your stage at thing if you haven't got any eyeballs to begin with. So how are you going to get the eyeballs? You're going to play some crappy shows driving up and down the coast, right? But once you start to get that ball rolling, I don't think this is an either-or proposition.
You think it's both?
You got to do both, right? I mean, because some people will only go to, you know, brick and mortar clubs, and other people are really internet savvy and won't leave their homes, and other people will cross over. So that once they see you in the club because they went out for a beer to get laid, sorry, I'm bringing that up again, then suddenly they're like, I like this guy enough to actually open up my laptop at home and see him, you know, go specifically online to see him. And then you can actually hit a larger group even though they're spread out geographically, right? You know, you get 5-10 people to see your show in 12 states, then you've got 100 people or something like that, or 120 people to see you online.
Are you booking your own shows?
Most of them, yes.
Yeah. Do you, when you book a show, do you ask the club for their media list?
Yep.
Do you contact those people and set up interviews before you get there?
As best as possible.
Okay.
Media lists are, unfortunately, most clubs nowadays, believe it or not, on this level, if they keep an active media list, it's pretty weak and it's pretty overhead.
It's also about the promoters you go with too.
Yeah.
The promoters that you hire, the promoters that you book the shows with have to be people that you know are hungry. You're not going to go with Joe Schmo. You have to look into it. You have to really ask fans in the area, hey, is this guy Opus worth booking a show with? Maybe not. If this guy, you know, so and so, and if you see that he's doing shows on a regular basis, and they're like, you know, the invites on the Facebook, the invites have like 100 people, 200 people, then it's okay, this guy's actually got something going on. If you see their invite, they're like, you know, their invite list is like 19 people, and it's like it's a Wednesday in Iowa, maybe not. But then again, a question to you is a door deal thing. Okay, I have a show booked on Friday. I have a show booked on Sunday. I'm getting paid well on Friday. I'm getting paid well on Sunday. I'm driving to Pennsylvania. I can't find anything for Saturday except for a door deal in New Jersey. Does it make sense? Yes, because you get a meal, you'll get some drinks, you might sell a few CDs, and you might get gas money on the way to your paying show. Is it better to not have a show? No. So it depends on the situation.
Yeah, we have to.
You know?
Well, one thing about the media though, if the clubs that you're going after, they don't have an up-to-date media kit, there's nothing wrong with you doing your own due diligence and looking and reaching out to the media yourself. Because
So then, and that gets me to the final question, is that we just went through it. You got to do it all. You have to advertise it on Facebook. You have to engage media there because that's where most of the world is living. Whether it's Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, I'm using Facebook in a general term to cover all social media. At this point, you have to do that. You have to cover email. You have to hire your own radio guy, hire your own video promoter, hire your own publicist.
What are you doing?
Coffee stout.
You do all that stuff.
Yup,
You build your own media list.
yup.
You perform your show. Is the answer to do 20 shows a year, spread them out in the right markets, spend other time advertising and pushing those things?
Absolutely.
And making sure that you
I
have...
think you might be spreading yourself too far, too fast. And I'd stick to like residencies or playing places over and over until you max it out, sell it out, create a line outside the door. I think what you're doing is you're trying to go a lot of places and 10 here, 10 here, 10 here. Why not go back to the place, schedule the place that you got 10
Saturated market.
that makes sense economically, try to get 20 the next time, 40 the next time, and stay there until you blow the doors off the place. And just go back and
I think that there's,
figure it out how to do that. I just don't think, I think, that's why I think people put a song out and they think, the whole world's gonna respond right away.
Right, you can't be a moving target. I mean, you have to give people a chance to catch
I
up
think
with you.
consolidating a little bit and putting more energy and economics and everything, and the media effort and all that into a selected markets until you build them and you max them out.
It also
Then
depends
go,
on the market
then
too.
move to the next
It
one.
also depends on the market. Certain markets are a lot smaller, like Rhode Island, Connecticut. Because I play in different bands, I play a little more often. But with any one project, I'm playing maybe once every 6 months. Because who the hell? There's bands out here in Connecticut that play literally every other week at Cherry Street Station in Wallingford. And who the hell wants to see the same band over and over and over and over again every other week when they know, oh, I'll just see them next week because that's what
and
they
it can
can.
get special.
Thank you so much, bro.
Hey,
It also depends a little on the state of your arc of your career, but is to say you can that your question about which way of touring is better depends a little bit about how many people you have in each market, right? So that you're going to play shitty gigs in good market until you kind of get your toe in the water, and after that you can start to see some return. You got to pay that.
Think of the franchise model. Right now, you don't have the successful franchise anywhere. So you need to build that, what would you call the first store? Flagship store. What you need is that flagship venue, that flagship market. And then you want to replicate that in similar type markets. It sounds to me as if you haven't established your flagship.
Sometimes secondary markets are some of the best shows I've ever had.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a small fish in a big pond, saying you want to play LA or you want to play New York City, chances are you're going to get maybe a handful of people compared to if you play in the middle of nowhere in, again, Iowa, where they don't get bands or music hardly ever. If you get the right promoter from that area who get the word out, now everyone and their grandmother's going to come out because they're like, oh, is there actually a rock show in our town? So some of the best shows I've ever had, where I've sold tons of stuff, is these little shithole clubs in middle of Maine, where I'm getting treated like I'm like the biggest thing since the Beatles because they don't have anyone in those areas. So I try to play a lot of secondary markets because
I had the same experience.
yeah.
If you guys,
I better in middle of nowhere, Virginia.
if you guys have other questions on it, we're all going to be here, but we do got to wrap it up. We have publishing coming up next, and we also have a songwriting.
I never wrap it.
So I want to thank all these guys for taking their time out to come down and talk.